Good morning, everyone. This is July 5th, 2020. I know I haven't been on in a little over a week, but there's been a lot going on, and anyone that's been watching my previous videos will know how the situation in Minneapolis has changed quite a bit over the past month or so. I'm going to do a little quick coffee clutch over a lesson that's in the Living Word, which is from my Word of Flame lessons that I read every Sunday. And this just happens to be the lesson for today, which I feel is really appropriate for the time that we live in. Do you have your coffee? Today I have mine with some milk. Feel free to pause, get your coffee or tea or whatever you would like to have, and join me here. Okay, got your coffee? The focus for today is focusing on following. Focused thought is no matter the distractions that come in our lives, we must choose to focus on following the Lord. Now, if this is not your first time watching me, then you know that I am a Christian, and that's why what I study and what I practice is very important to me. If it's your first time watching me, now you know. And I hope that you get something positive and encouraging out of my reading for today. Give it a try. Don't just give up before you hear it. Really just give it a try and see, what resonates within you. The cultural connection lesson, which is the part that I enjoy because it relates so much to what's going on every day in life. That's why I really like the Word of Flame books. I enjoy reading a lot anyway, but Word of Flame really puts together some things that really resonate with the current times and the situations in our lives. And this book was put out last year, but the lesson today is totally apropos. Cultural connection. Be the aftershock. Now, you know what an aftershock is? The aftershock is like when there's an earthquake. Those tectonic plates are shifting underground, causes things to shake. We can visibly see that shaking going on around us, knocking things over, or whatever the situation may be, and it causes, some upheaval within ourselves, not only in the surroundings. So, be the aftershock. The first rattling of an earthquake is referred to as the main shock. However, once the initial shaking subsides, there are usually aftershocks. Aftershocks are caused by the readjusting of the plates that were shifted during the main shock. Those plates, again, that are underground, they shift. The bigger the earthquake, the more aftershocks and the longer they can last. The earthquake of 1906 in San Francisco is reported to have had aftershocks that affected Southern California, Nevada, Oregon, and Arizona. When an earthquake happens, there is no question of whether there will be aftershocks. They always follow the earthquake. There are safety protocols and guidelines on how to prepare for earthquakes and their aftershocks, but scientists have not discovered any method for stopping them. Once an earthquake begins, there is no stopping what will follow. The earthquake makes its mark, and after the aftershock follows in its path. Aftershocks are so consistent that scientists can determine a range in which they will occur. There is not a question of if, but when. As disciples of Christ, what would happen if we were to become the true aftershock? of Jesus. If we follow him consistently, others will have no doubt who Jesus is, and what he does will naturally flow through us. We can be his aftershock, following his lead and helping those he has touched to adjust to a new life in him. Now, the reason I say that this reading today is really appropriate is because of all the chaos and craziness that's been going on. Like I said, if you watch my videos regularly and you're not living in the Minneapolis area, you may not be fully aware of the circumstances that have happened here. But if you are watching for the first time, or not from around the area, or do not actively watch the news on television or read the newspaper or those things, you may not be aware of the situations that have occurred. You know, about a month ago, a little over a month ago, almost 5 weeks ago now, a man died at the hands of a police officer. You want more information on that, just scroll back through 5 weeks of my videos, because this happened on a Monday. And it was recorded by someone through their phone, which immediately was uploaded to social media, and there was an outroar. People responded. That was the aftershock. The first aftershock. People just didn't respond with the sorrow in their heart, because, you know, your heart can become sorrowful when you see an injustice happen, or you feel for the pain, and you're full of empathy for what that person experienced. People destroyed the city, like literally. Set fires. Well, started off with picketing, and then picketing. The memorial turned to picketing, which turned to riots. People came in from other states and destroyed my city. To the point where, where's the closest hotel that's not destroyed? Not in Minneapolis. Not in the area that I'm in, anyway. Where's the closest gas station? Several gas stations were destroyed. The police department was destroyed. Several stores were destroyed. People went on a rampage. That was the aftershock that they chose to use. But in that chaotic time and behavior, part of what they did was burn down a brand new building which was being built for affordable housing for those that are homeless. Because living in Minnesota, when winter comes, winter is very unforgiving. It's exceedingly cold. And for years we had many people that were living under bridges and out on the highway in tents. And it's frigidly cold and dangerous. And we were making efforts to improve the situation and have a place for people, a safe place, a warm place for people, especially people with children or people with medical conditions. Everyone really needs a warm and safe place to be in the winter. But when that building was burnt down, and the response I heard from people is that, oh, it was just a condo, another condo going up that was going to be unaffordable, and that's the last thing we need. I had to tell them, sorry. In this case, you were wrong. The mayor does have a heart for the people, and that building, which I had been petitioning to be built, I petitioned for over a year, he put funds just for that beautiful building to be built in an area that was accessible to public transportation, grocery stores, not far from county offices and social service offices and clinics, so that people would have access to those things that they need. But with that building burnt down, that meant that all that housing is not an option now. That money that was used is just gone. And in cities like this, they don't always have insurance for riot insurance, because that's not something that is a normal thing that would happen here in Minneapolis, but it happened, and people have been having to pull together to clean up the mess that others made and left town, because there was some involvement of some anti-disestablishment people who helped destroy the city and then quickly got out of town. I guarantee you they wouldn't do that to their own city, because they know how vital those things are to be able to live and survive and be able to go to work and pay rent and have a place to live, and even have laundromats and things like that where they can use, and daycares for their children. But I digress. The aftershock. Think about that. That happened, and aftershocks are almost like a domino effect. Have you ever seen dominoes where, not where people playing it, matching up the dots on the dominoes, but when they stand them up on their ends, and then they tipped one, and the one causes the next one to fall, which causes the next one to fall, and they keep falling in the pattern until it gets to the very last one. Well, after all this happened, I mean, first we had COVID-19, then we had George Floyd's death, then we had all the mourning and the riots and everything, and the destruction and defacing of property, and stealing and looting and pillaging, and carjackings and holdups, and that part of it, of the aftershock, is still going on. People saying they don't want the police anymore. Police can't do anything for us. Well, yes, they can, and not every police officer is bad. You know, there's things that need to be changed. Just like not every person is bad, not every police officer is bad. And we should be realistic about that, and not try to become vigilantes and take the law into our own hands. That's my opinion on that. But aftershocks. Now, all those people, which would have been depending on that housing, who've been on waiting lists for years and years, they have nowhere to go. So the city said, well, they opened up a very nice person opened up their hotel to the homeless, and people came in, and some of those people were may have been of a good rapport, others were not, and they destroyed that man's hotel, and then they had to be put out of the hotel. So here this man opening his heart and trying to do an act of kindness to help people in this difficult time, they destroyed his hotel. So police had to come and say, sorry, you guys have to leave. They left, and then the city said, well, what are we going to do with all these people? I guess we'll have to open up the parks and let people sleep in the parks for now. So, right across the street from where I live, there's about 600 people sleeping in the park as of yesterday. I took a drive around. It's not very safe to walk fully around, and I'm not saying that there's always trouble when there's someone who does not have their own adequate housing, but what I am saying is that there's wheat and then there's tares. The wheat is the good stuff that grows the right way and does the right thing, and the tares tend to cause trouble and try to strangle out the wheat. And there are some tares there doing some things that are illegal and illicit, which is really unfortunate, because then that makes it an unsafe environment for your children, or for people with disabilities, or anyone that's vulnerable, adults or child. So, aftershocks. Where do things go from here? We can continue to follow the tares, since now that a tare has crept in and they've multiplied. But would we want to destroy things? Or do we want to be the rebuilders of the community? Do we want to beautify the city? Do we want to have better relationships with those around us? I say let's be the wheat and not the tare. So knowing that this aftershock is not going to last forever, let's prepare to take the next step forward and do the positive thing and help heal the land and make things better for the community to come. Thanks for joining me for this coffee clutch, and I hope that you'll join me later as we prepare a meal.